I'm Jessica.
Hi, I'm Christeena.
And you're watching
Game of Tomes.
Today you're watching our review video of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Kesey.
We both really like this book a lot.
Yeah, we did.
It's a really good Rage Against the Machine book, so we thought we would just talk about it. I think it is categorized as like a classic, you know, or like...
I think so.
Yeah. And of course there's the movie, you know, a lot of people have seen the movie.
You said you didn't like the movie.
I hated the movie.
Why? I don't think I've seen it all.
I hated it.
Why
just
not?
felt like, well, I also watched it after reading the book, and of course, like, I mean, standalone, I don't think I'd even enjoy it not reading the book and just watching the movie. Because I feel like the book, it takes place in the mind of Chief Bromden, the Indian chief, and he's in a psychiatric ward, and it's a bunch of inner head dialogue and descriptions, and I feel like, and I understand it's hard to portray that in a movie, and it just, like, reading the book was so powerful to me. Like, after I finished it, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this so much, like, what an awesome story, but then watching the movie, I didn't feel like it was as powerful, so I was just kind of like, oh.
The book is seen through the eyes of Chief Bromden, who is paranoid,
He hallucinates.
Yeah. For the last 10 years, he has been pretending to be deaf and dumb. So people let him around them when normally they wouldn't.
Like, the staff will talk about stuff that, you know, they won't around other patients because they think
that
he's just deaf and dumb. Like, he sweeps, and anytime people talk to him or anything, he's just
like sweeping.
He acts like he can't, just like doesn't even look at them, or, you know. It's in a psychiatric ward, and there's kind of like two categories of patients. You've got your chronics, who have been there super long term, and most of them can't fully function, uncurable, and they're the ones that usually lay in bed all day and can't take care of themselves or anything. And the acutes are ones that you can be cured, you know, you have the chance of getting out of here. But over the day nurse that's over all these is a nurse called Miss Ratched. And obviously she's our antagonist in the story.
She's a really good villain.
A very good villain.
She has these group therapy sessions with these men in the ward, and
it is all men. It's just a men psychiatric ward, by the way.
And in these sessions, she encourages all the other men to gang up on one person. So she'll say, oh, let's talk about your problem with your impotence. And all the guys will just, like, even his friends will just bash at him because she has just this way of, like, controlling them with scare tactics. She'll, if you don't comply, she'll order electroshock therapy for you, and if that doesn't work, then, well, maybe you'll get a lobotomy and
become a chronic, basically. I mean, everybody knows that, you know, she does these things, and she even has a little book at the nurse's station where anytime somebody lets slip something secret or, like, personal about themselves, they all race to write it down so that they can discuss it in group therapies, because then, like, you're allowed to sleep in the next day because you did a good thing. You know, she kind of just pulls strings of, obviously, the men and their situation.
Right.
And takes advantage of it.
So McMurphy comes in. And the movie is played by Jack Nicholson. And that really helped me because Jack Nicholson is so loud and he's, like, such a good McMurphy.
It threw me off so much.
Really?
Because, well, in the book, they described him as being so tall and,
yeah,
like,
he doesn't look like
red-headed and red
He's
hair.
Irish.
But Jack Nicholson did a good job, though.
He did a great job.
Yeah.
I think he's a great McMurphy. And so when I was reading, I was able to picture his loud, boisterous, you know, like he's all over the place, and then he takes over the... and that's what I love about these two together, is that he really gives her a run for her money.
Yeah.
And
it's really entertaining. I mean,
it is really entertaining. And there are themes of Manifest Destiny. There are themes of raging against the machine. It's a metaphor for society.
I actually read that he wrote this, I want to say in the 50s, and it was right before the 60s came along, and he totally meant it that way, as in, like, society and, like, just being ran over and just kind of, like, you're brainwashed and you're letting, you know, people just peck at you and getting
Right.
everybody against the person who's different.
It was during the time of like when there was the fear of communism, and he was in what university? I want to say Stafford, and he was into this drug testing program where he took LSD.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
Well, because he has, I want to read The Electric Kool-Aid. It's about him. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
The book, I want to read it because it's about him and his drug experiment.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway.
He's a really interesting guy, and I think it would be really cool if there was a documentary about him, and I would definitely watch it.
Yeah, what were you going to say, though, about...
Well...
Because I know that he was in...
He worked in, after that... Okay, so he took LSD. It was funded by the CIA.
Right.
Which he didn't know until later. Or he didn't believe until later. The CIA wanted to know if they could use LSD for torture. Or to get information out of people, really.
Right.
And they were seeing it as like a therapy thing to see what they could pull out of someone, or what someone could discover through the medium of LSD.
Right.
After that, he works in a psychiatric ward, which is where he gets a lot of the inspiration for the book.
Ah, I didn't know that.
He does. Not like as a therapist, I don't think.
Right.
But like
a nurse or...
I don't know, honestly. And then once he leaves there, he's like really heavy into LSD. He has like this drug cult going on. He gets caught, I want to say like flushing down marijuana or something, and he escapes to Mexico. When he comes back, he spends several months in jail, and then he goes on this hippie excursion on a bus, and they're taking drugs. And that book you were talking about was written by a friend of his, and that book becomes very popular in the 60s, and a lot of the like colloquialisms and like catchphrases of the day come out of that book and stuff, which I really like to read.
It's not a feel-good story at all, but I mean I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And
you felt empowered by it, maybe?
Yeah, like after you read it, you're just like, yeah, you know, like but.
Yeah, he doesn't offer up any answers in this book about what to do about society, but just that these two gentlemen, McMurphy and Chief Bromden, didn't let it overtake them.
Yeah. Kicking Nurse Ratched to the curb.
Cool. Okay, we'll see you later, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye. Ready, steady, wiggle.
Something like that. Isn't that crazy?
And that's how we scoot.